Housing crisis in America gets strange as the percentage of mortgages seriously underwater rises. Today, I read an article on foxbusiness.com written by Eric Ravel titled Percentage of U.S. Mortgages Considered Seriously Underwater Rises. The author of this article referenced a report from property and real estate data firm Adam, which found the portion of mortgaged homes that were seriously underwater rose slightly in the first quarter of 2024 from 2.6% to 2.7%. This pertains to all residential mortgages. Seriously underwater is defined as a loan-to-value ratio of 125% or more, meaning owners owe at least 25% more than the estimated market value of the property. Here are my thoughts. This is a very small change from a percentage standpoint. However, I think this is something to monitor moving forward. Imagine being in a situation where you owe 25% more than the home may be worth. Then consider how expensive it is to sell a home if you need to move. You have to pay a real estate commission unless you do a for sale by owner, which often doesn't work out very well. In addition to a real estate commission, you have closing costs, prorated property taxes to the date of closing in some cases, and you may have to make repairs that the buyer wants to close the deal. The days of people waiving inspections is pretty much over in many markets now. When you factor all of that in, these people are way more than 25% upside down in their homes. When I say upside down, I am talking about negative equity. I think many of you probably suspected this would happen with homes after the multiple offer mania in recent years. I'm sure some of you probably suspected this would happen with cars and trucks also. And guess what? You were right. There are a lot of people who are in a negative equity position in their vehicles right now. But not to worry. There are still financial institutions that will let these people roll over their negative equity to a new loan when they purchase another vehicle. And some financial institutions will let people stretch out their payments to 84 months, 96 months, 108 months, or 120 months. That's right, my friends. I saw a credit union online offering a 120-month loan for automobiles and motorcycles as long as they were 2020 or newer. Can you imagine stretching out your car loan for 10 years? All of the electronics in some of these modern rolling video games may not even last 10 years. I've watched some auto mechanic channels on YouTube where these high-tech vehicles are very problematic to repair once they develop problems. It almost seems like some vehicles may simply become disposable products at some point. While you can roll over your negative equity from one car to another pretty easily, the same can't be said for negative equity in your home. It just does not work the same way. Here's my question to you. What are people going to do when our economy takes a turn for the worse and their company slows down, resulting in fewer hours and smaller paychecks, and they can no longer afford their home, but they can no longer sell it because they have too much negative equity? Or what is going to happen when people get laid off and need to sell their homes to move for new jobs, but they can't sell them because of the massive amount of negative equity? I'll let you answer those questions in the comment section below. I'll tell you what I think will happen. I think we will see a wave of short sales and foreclosures like we did during the Great Financial Crisis. From everything that I've been reading, a lot of banks are already exposed to bad commercial loans. Many of the people who own these commercial properties are in a negative equity position, and they may be unable to restructure the loans, and they may be unable to sell the properties. Banks may be forced to foreclose, and then they have toxic assets on their books that they don't know what to do with. I read a story yesterday about the tallest building in Fort Worth called Burnett Plaza, which sold about 3 years ago for $137.5 million. and it was sold for just $12.3 million at an auction recently. That just goes to show you what type of potential losses some banks could experience. Getting back to the article, I'm going to share with you the metropolitan areas with populations greater than 500,000 residents that had the largest shares of mortgages that were seriously underwater. Baton Rouge was at the top of the list with 13.4%, followed by New Orleans with 7.3%, followed by Jackson, Mississippi with 6.5%. Little Rock, Arkansas was next at 6%, followed by Syracuse, New York with 5.6%. Now, I don't want you to think everyone across America is in a negative equity position because that's not the case at all. There are areas where people are considered equity rich. However, the author of this article did say the percentage of residential mortgages that were considered equity rich, where the owner had at least 50% equity, slid to 45.8% in quarter one of 2024 from 46.1% in the prior quarter and 47.2% from quarter one 2023. I'll read you a quote from the author. That means the national proportion of equity-rich mortgages hit the lowest level in 2 years. Well, my friends, I'm looking at the trend, but also paying attention to the very small percentage change. It will be interesting to see if this downward trend continues moving forward. Depending on what happens with our economy, anything is possible in my opinion. People who are equity rich right now may see that fluctuate in the future and possibly in the wrong direction. While the national trend of equity-rich residential mortgages is declining slightly, the percentage of decline has been greater in some states. For example, the largest quarterly decline was in Kentucky, which dropped from 35.4% to 28.7%, followed by South Carolina, which dropped from 42.4% to 40%, followed by Georgia, which declined from 46% to 43.7%, followed by Delaware, which dropped from 39.4% to 37.2%. Here are my thoughts about this. One could think about this like a stock portfolio. A stock portfolio is going to fluctuate each quarter. However, what is going to happen long term? Hopefully, a well-diversified stock portfolio will do well in the long term. Real estate has also done well in the long term throughout history. Of course, past performance is not indicative of future results. What do you think about all this? Share your thoughts in the comment section below. I read another interesting article today. This one was on foxbusiness.com, written by Breck Dumas, titled, "Inflation Reduces Buying Power as $100 Goes a Lot Less Far These Days." According to the author, the amount of household staples Americans can buy for a $100 bill has been eroded by nearly 1/3 over the past 5 years. The author referenced Nielsen IQ's 2024 Consumer Outlook, which showed the cost of fast-moving consumer goods, including groceries and other necessities like toiletries, has soared by 31% since 2019. The problem will get worse as wage growth is expected to lag behind the Consumer Price Index this year. Well, my friends, I'm so confused. I thought the economy was booming. I thought the consumer was in great shape. That's what I hear regularly from politicians and the mainstream media. What I hear on television is quite different than what I hear when I talk to friends and family. I often hear about how frustrated people are every time they go to the checkout aisle at the store. Before I share this next bit of information with you, please understand I'm not trying to get political here. You can be for Biden, or you can be for Trump, or you can be for some independent. That's your right to be in whatever camp that aligns with your beliefs. I simply want to share some facts with you. I read an article on CNBC.com back on October 4th, written by Rebecca Pisciato, titled, "Biden Says U.S. Economy is World's Best. Trump Calls It a Cesspool. Data is Clear." In that article, the author included a quote from Joe Biden that came from an interview with NBC's Today, where he said, "America has the best economy in the world." Well, if I had an opportunity to interview Joe Biden, I would ask him who the American economy is best for. I believe it is the best for the elite who own the majority of stock and the majority of real estate. They are doing better than ever. But do you really think it is the best economy in the world for working class Americans who are suffering due to inflation and struggling to afford groceries, childcare, medical care, and various types of insurance? Do you really think it is the best economy in the world for working class Americans who are priced out of being able to purchase a home? I'd also ask him why America isn't near the top of the U.S. News quality of life list. Sweden is number 1 in quality of life and number 3 in best countries overall. Norway is number 2 in quality of life and number 11 in best countries overall. The United States is number 23 in quality of life and number 5 in best countries overall. Perhaps one reason Sweden is number 1 in quality of life is because they have remained neutral when it comes to war for centuries. Healthcare and college education are free there, and they have one of the longest life expectancies in the world. How different that is than the United States. What do you think about all this? Share your thoughts in the comment section below. Please keep in mind that everything in this video is for entertainment purposes only, and nothing in this video is financial advice or advice of any kind. If you need advice, seek advice from a qualified professional in good standing who puts your interests first and foremost. If you enjoyed this video, consider subscribing to the channel. Please also consider sharing this video with your friends. I want to extend a special thanks to everyone who has subscribed to this channel. I want to also thank all of my channel members. If you would like to become a channel member, there is a link in the description beneath this video. You can read more about the different membership levels. Please also check out some of the great books that I suggest you consider reading in the description below. I've included Amazon affiliate links to these books. As an Amazon associate, I earn from qualifying purchases. Stay healthy and wealthy. I'll see everyone in the next video.